today I want to talk about some slide guitar techniques in standard tuning, and some of these rules may apply to open tuning as well. I just like to play in standard because I don't like switching my tunings too often. So the first thing I am going to talk about is hand technique with your left and right hand. Now, some of you might see I am wearing the slide on my pinky. This is just my preferred finger of choice. You can wear it on your ring finger. I started playing slide with it on my ring finger and eventually switched over to playing with my pinky because I wanted to utilize my fingers a little bit more. So that's the only reason why I wear the slide really on my pinky. The next thing I want to talk about is your right hand. So I think it's really important to play finger style with your slide, because if you're trying to get the notes to ring very clearly, it's really important that you have really good just hand technique and muting technique going along with this. So what I do to make sure that I'm only playing one note at a time is I'll usually rest my thumb along the bottom three strings, so the E, A, and D string, and then I'll take my other fingers, my first three fingers, so my index, middle, and ring finger, and I kind of assign them to the G, the B, and the E. So my first finger gets the G string, my middle finger gets the B, and my ring finger gets the E string. And I might switch it more to like a claw style, but if I'm playing on the middle strings, most of the time my ring finger will be muting the E string. This is something I've kind of practiced over time and just kind of developed, getting used to it. And if you continue to think about these things, it will just become second nature to you, and you won't really have to think about it. The first thing I want to talk about, which is really important in terms of starting playing slide and standard tuning, would be just learning how to work your scales kind of on one string and one string only. So a lot of my time when I was first beginning, I would spend with drone going on in the background. So like, for instance, I'm in the key of D right now, and what I would do is I would just put on a background drone and I would just play through my scale. I'm going to play a minor pentatonic right now on my B string, and so I would just worry about So the first thing I want to worry about with that is I want to just try and get as in tune as possible. I put a little bit of vibrato on those notes there, but when you're first starting this, it's really best to just kind of play it super clean without anything and really worry about your intonation. Another thing when you're playing slide, you want to be right over the fret most of the time is going to be where the note will intonate best. Some of the phrases are a little in between the notes, and you kind of learn a lot of that stuff through just playing and repetition and the practice of it. So first off, I would start with just playing the individual notes and not even sliding to the notes. The next thing I would do is I would start sliding between those notes within that scale. So to play this scale, I am going on the B string. I'm going to go the 3rd fret of the B. I'm going to go 6th fret. I'm going to go 8th, 10th, 13th, and that's going to be the 15th there for your octave. And then we can go backwards as well. So 15, 13, 10, 8, 6, and 3 is going to be the beginning there. So on your B string, in order to play your major pentatonic, we're going to change kind of that scale up a little bit. And so for this, we're going to play the 3rd fret of the B string, the 5th fret, the 7th fret, then I'm going to go to my 10th fret, and then I'm going to go 12th, and then 15th. And then descending, it will be 15, 12, 10, 7, 5, and 3. So that would sound like. Work on just being able to play that up and down, and this pattern will actually be the same on all your other string sets. So once you kind of learn it on one string set, if you know your notes on the fretboard, it's really easy to kind of transfer these things. And you can go through all your other scales with this, so all your modes, The next thing I would say to do is to slide between those notes. Now, for this beginning one, I like to pick every 2 notes. So I'll pick a note, slide up to a note, pick a note, slide up to a note. So it's like pick, slide, pick, slide, pick, slide, pick, slide, pick, slide. Then we can start adding, 3 slides at a time. So I might go, and then I could go. So depending on where you start, where you put the slides, it's going to make your phrases sound different. I like thinking of this as like the 4th box. So the minor pentatonic, 4th kind of shape. It's starting around the 5th fret. We're in the key of D here. And then this shape, which would be your 5th box of the minor pentatonic, right? So in that 4th box, we're going to be playing the 5th fret of the E string. We're going to play the 8th fret of the E string. So 5 and 8 on the E string. Then we're going to go 5 and 8 on our A. Then we're going to go 5 and 7 on our D strings. 5 and 7 on our G string. 6 and 8 on our B. And then 5 and 8 on our high E. So that's going to be a really important box for us during all this slide stuff in standard tuning, because we actually have this triad here, a D major triad living on the 7th fret. So you can kind of fake those kind of, authentic open tuning slide. The next shape I'm going to take is going to be the 5th box of the minor pentatonic, and that's going to be your 8th and 10th fret on the E string, 8th and 10th on your A string, and then 7 and 10 on your D, 7 and 10 on your G. We have 8 and 10 on our B string, 8 and 10 on our high E. But for the most part, you can get a lot of these kind of classic slide licks, like just kind of living in those 2 shapes and then using your first position minor pentatonic. This I'm going to go 10, 8, 10, 8, 6, and then I'm going to land on my root on the G string of the 7th fret. So this is a really great beginner slide lick. And so it's nice because once you kind of get the hang of the single note stuff, you can add that triad in at the end of it, and it's going to give you a really nice sound. So you get. And so what I'm doing there, I'm just playing the bottom 2 notes. So on my D string and on my G string, I'm playing the 7th fret to get a nice thick sound there between those strings. So that's one great position, and you can work out a lot of awesome, great licks. So that's just kind of working between that 4th box and that 5th box of the pentatonic. Now, the next shape that I would kind of start to live in and learn a lot about would be up here at the 10th fret, kind of your first position, minor pentatonic shape, and then that 5th position. So when you're playing in standard tuning, this would be kind of where that open chord would live for you if you were playing in the key of D. So there's ways to get around this. If you've been playing guitar for a little bit, you know that in the blues it's really important that we know how to play our D minor pentatonic, but also our D major pentatonic. A first early lick I like to do, especially when I was picking things up, would be like. So in order to play this lick, what I begin with is I start with a phrase that's going to slide into the 10th fret of our B string, and I'm going to strike the 10th fret of the E string head on. So then after that, I'm going to do 2 attacks on the E string, so 10 and 8. And then on the B string, I'm going to slide, so 10 to 8. Then I'm going to slide into my major third, or the 11th fret of the G string. And then I'm going to land on the root on the 12th fret of the D string. Then following from the root on the 12th fret of the D string, I'm going to slide back into that major third. Then I'm going to hit my 5th and 6th scale degrees of the D major pentatonic, which will be your 10th fret and your 12th fret of your B string. Now here, I'm kind of playing around with the minor third and just kind of sliding down below it. So I'm kind of in between the major and the minor third. So somewhere between the 10th and the 11th fret, and I'm going to slide down towards the 9th fret on the G string. So after I go, what I'm doing there is I'm kind of starting at my my 10th fret, and I'm sliding that note on the G string down towards the 9th fret. And so I kind of want to get that, you know, that little bluesy sound. And then I'm going to end it on the 12th fret of the D string. Altogether, it should sound like this. If you found any of this stuff useful, just new tips and tricks, maybe some new ideas to try out with your slide playing, we'd really appreciate it if you could like the video, leave us a comment, maybe share it with a friend, hit the subscribe button, ding the bell. It would really help us out, helping grow this musical community that we're trying to reach right now. Don't forget to check out some of our backing tracks that we have on our channel for all of you guys to jam over. And thanks for watching.